day 2 for Selenium training. Thank you so much. This is Karthik from iTelearn. So let's look at where we stopped our day 1 and then move on with our day 2. I'm going to go to my folder. Remember the one I was creating yesterday. So I'm going to quickly look at the day 1 notes. And let's quickly read through so we're all on the same page. If some of you have missed yesterday's session, this should predominantly cover it. So as I mentioned, what is the prerequisite for you to be part of the Selenium training? Even if you're not QA trained or working in QA, does not matter. The only couple of skills, you have basic understanding of web apps and your MS Office skills like Excel, Word docs, and so on. We spoke briefly about Selenium being a web application automation testing tool. What does it mean? How is it important? We will come to it. Then we spoke about manual testing in general, which is very human powered. And a QA engineer with no automation skill is going to put 1 second, team. Sorry, team, I believe there was a little background noise. I just wanted to make sure that it is clear. So a typical QA engineer, the way they look at it, overall application, they divide the functional knowledge of that application into modules, and each module containing multiple test cases. Each test case gets divided into test steps, and the depth of that is your ability to write good test cases. In fact, within the manual testing to automation migration, the ones who can write very, very smart, intelligent test cases can do amazing automation. You'll know that today. Primarily, what are the 2 important factors of automation that go in, like what you have to do and where you have to perform? With that, we'll get a lot of clarity. All right, cool. So what is the so test cases, how it translates into steps, we will come to it, and this becomes very key. These 2 aspects, team, primarily build your automations scripts, and that is what we can really focus on. Cool. 2 intents. 2 intents of what? I think a QA engineer, what your role is, your R&R. One, you cover the entire application, that nothing is left. You make sure that it's stable. That's how you kind of keep going on. We tried one project yesterday, innova.org. It was, I think, in the healthcare side, but it was not very user friendly. A lot of small challenges that we faced, didn't look stable. So we switched to Zillow. And we took Zillow.com as our application under test. We took one module called rentals, and we created a simple user story. What was the story? Okay, here you go. Simple search for a rental using a zip code. And for that, to write those steps, I think we moved to that Excel sheet. So, and then we were trying to compare as to manual testing, what are the challenges typically are there. Just very, how do I say, I put this theoretically, team, we will practically kind of realize them as we go along. Automation, my thumb rule, like I say, is those 3 words called ERA. They primarily mean it has to be efficient. There's no question. Otherwise, there's no savings, correct? If I build it once and I don't reuse it again, it is absolute waste of effort and time. Reusability becomes critical. Reusability of the same thing, and how many people can use it? Can even non-technical people use this automation or not? That becomes essential. Accuracy is, at the end of the day, machines may go wrong, but a human, if very, very well focused, knows, okay, what, there's a defect here or not. That accuracy, sometimes machines lose. When I say machines, these are artificial intelligence or automation tools. Now, how do we keep that accurate? So the whole thing about automation tools is how we try and teach the application, the platform, on how to perform these steps. That becomes extremely important. Now we will talk about how we go about. So I think, yes, we will set up Firefox or Chrome as an add-on, teach Selenium about our manual test case. Yes, perfect. Now let's see this spreadsheet quickly. And before I continue forward, any questions that I could take from our audience on what we covered till day 1? I'm assuming that, I'm not sure if you've all got access to this folder yet, but you should be. slowly. So we created two test cases. Test case one is here. I should have made all of this the same color. Okay, and then test case two, we have, is it this color? Yep, correct. I'm going to copy this. I don't like to keep anything empty, team. That way it's easy. And ideally speaking, the only reason I do merging of cells, you know what are cell mergings? Very important, team. You have to be very good at Excel for sure. Simple things like how do you add things? How do you put a formula? How can you generate a chart from numbers? Because end of the day, you will be providing reports, and you should be able to generate these reports and dashboards using Excel. So keep practicing on Excel sheets. Okay, spreadsheets. Google Sheets have a lot of these features, and they're free and online for you. So the reason I don't merge is anytime you do sorting and filtering, this will go for a toss. So ideally speaking, you should keep them unmerged and copy the same thing, but only for our easy display purpose I'm doing it. I only have two test cases. I do not have 200 test cases. That's why it is looking still presentable this way. All right. Now, what was the test case? We wrote very clearly how we wanted to do. So team, visualize Zillow.com as well. In fact, let me bring it up so that we all know how the application is behaving. Zillow.com. And do note, team, with web applications, I'm assuming you're all capturing each and every word that I'm saying, because there are a lot of important aspects that I'm keep providing into it. Can I just get a hello and hi from everyone that yes, we are there in the session? Just a simple hi, H, whatever. A dot is also fine on the chat, please. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you, everyone. Great. What I wanted to mention is, look how I've split the windows horizontally. When we do that, this application's UI changes. Why? They're dynamic, or what we call as responsive web applications. So when a user watches it on a tablet like your iPad or your smartphones like, let's say, iPhone, uh, it narrows down to that view. So with that kind of layout, automation tools will have a little tough time. And what we typically do, couple of rules, is try and keep it maximized as a window. And second, your zoom level also has to be absolutely at 100%. On your web pages, you can zoom. Your shortcut on your keyboard is Control and plus. For zooming in and out is Control minus, and then to get it to normal, just hit Control 0 on your keyboard, team. It gets it back to no zoom, so at exactly at 100%. Okay, so what was the test case? Let's briefly read it, then we'll come to this. Okay, so I'm going to kind of switch between the windows using Alt Tab on my keyboard. It'll make things easy for me. Open browser, go to the application, go to our application and test. Okay, this is the website. Click on rent on the home page about the search. Nice. See, I'll click on rent. Okay, perfect. See, it's gone. In the earlier Chrome, once I clicked on rent, whenever I opened Chrome, it kept me on rent. Why? Initially it was on buy, then I clicked on rent. Whenever I opened the website, always on rent. These are all the cookies and how these browsers store our profiles of the user and say, you know what, let us use the old cookies. In automation, as you go on, you'll understand that you can also control these cookies. You want to use the cookies or not use cookies. So that's some good choices that Selenium WebDriver gives for expansion. But again, little complex, but let me get back to the basics. Okay, great. So rent, and then I'm assuming we entered the zip code. I was trying my zip code and we clicked on search. And the test case is, once we click on search, verify the results, that we get 5 results. No, 5 won't come. I believe it was 73 yesterday. Was it 76? But this is what I'm getting now. Okay, and what was this? 5 results again. Click on the first property result of the renter. Let's see this. All right, and just see, does it show Oceano Warner Center? Is it the one? Does it show Oceano Warner Center, team? It doesn't. Maybe something else took its place. So what will happen to the test case? It will fail. There you go. Updated today. This is updated yesterday. I don't know why it switched. So, but it's still important. Maybe it is a functionality. See, the developers have put it in such a way that they want these properties to rotate. It shouldn't always hold the first place. Of course, the sorting would be there by default, relevance, or closest to the location. And that is a good way to complicate or, make sure your tests are handling these complicated situations. Okay, back to basics. So what happened to our test? Our test actually failed. Now, is it a defect or not? We will come to team. The concept of testing and defects is very simple. We will come to it. But as a thumb rule, just note this. Come on. I did open the notepad. Yep. I just use a notepad as a background so I can draw team. Simple. Uh, when it comes to automation, actually this is more relevant, but just letting you know, there's your application under test. Okay, there is your test data that is used to test the application, and there is your either your manual QA engineer or your automation script. All right, now when we load this data into the manual engineer's workflow or automation tool, it will go and try and replicate those steps on the application, or we will execute it manually. We have not seen Selenium yet, team. When we do that, defects can come or defects may not come. So by default, the last suspect, there are three suspects in this team. You have the data. Test data is incorrect. If you give wrong data, results will be wrong. What do I mean by that? For example, I wrote here 5 results. I should have written 76 results. I gave wrong data, it will. You give wrong zip code, it will. Wrong URL, it will fail. Correct? So the first culprit, the suspect, should be choose pen color blue. Should be your and choose sorry team, your data team. This is your first suspect. Okay, is my data correct? Is everything correct? The last suspect should be your application. So let's not jump into throwing a defect or a bug on a developer's face. Let's hold back. But a lot of culprit or times we go mistake at here. So do we want to take the blame or the automation scripts that we wrote? No. And that is where we have to be very smart. So our testing has to be perfect. There is no other word to it. If automation is doing only 60%, 30% job, no problem. I will do the remaining manually. That is our responsibility. That's how we need to build things. All right. Now back to our day 2 and what we want to do here today. So we've kind of covered almost a lot of day 1 again. But that is important, Tim. The reason I repeat and I go very slow in the initial few days is your concepts get set in very well. Once they're in, it is so easy for us to walk you through it. So Selenium day 2 training. So we were talking about a few things. Most importantly, let us talk about, sorry, do you all hear too much traffic sound or anything? Let me know, please. I think we'll be able to cover at least a few of these here today. All right, I'm going to zoom this to 150%. Okay, there you go. Now, let's go straight to seleniumhq.org or the add-ons and see if we have done anything. So I'm going to click on these 3 bars here. Let me see the version. So I'm clicking on help on my Firefox team and I'm seeing Firefox, about Firefox. This is version 60, which is should be the latest, correct? But yeah, it also says it's up to date, so that's good. However, one caution, when we go towards automation, WebDriver and so on, sometimes you may have to downgrade your Firefox. Why? Because your Selenium WebDriver is not up to date to the latest version. So those things we will get to. Where are the add-ons? Out here. And yesterday we were searching for an add-on, Selenium IDE. Search. So we have Selenium IDE here. It is the one we're looking at. And we just have to click on add to Firefox. Yep. I'm actually doing this session from India team, Hyderabad. You can see my local time also, it's 8:10 a.m. Add to Firefox. So team, I'm going to click on this and this is going to help us to add to Firefox. If you look at it, it is nice. All of us, if, we're enthusiasts of Selenium, we must spend a little time on this page. Look at what all is there, screenshots, and it is also giving us some good other related add-ons. So nice. Uh, I started after 20 years in the industry. I really slowed down onto one thing, team. I've started believing that one thing at a time, whatever you look at, let's do it completely. Because unless you're really good on and very in depth on these things, we can't really capture what the top industry wants. Okay, let's go ahead. Add Selenium ID, add. Uh, ta- 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 ta. Yes, there were times when it was not supporting. Did it get added? Oh, there you go. See, if it gets added, you should typically see it here, Selenium IDE as an icon. Or on your Firefox, if you hit Alt and go to Tools under Web Developer, you should see Selenium IDE is there. I don't see Selenium IDE here. I think it's just options. Maybe you can set it as to what is visible. Where are the somewhere? I'm just sorry, going into trying to see, because the reason I'm spending a little bit more time on this IDE team is there was a discontinuation of some gap of Selenium IDE supporting Firefox. But luckily, now there is a Chrome version also. And that also is working. I've tried it a little, not thoroughly. All right, team. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to click on this icon and open. Do you see this icon here, everyone? So I'm going to click on it and open this. Good. This is version 3.1 team. Remember that. Okay. So we're in the latest ones. Let's be ready for looking at changes. The one I saw was on Chrome about 4 weeks back. While I was in the US, I played around for a couple of hours. So let's see how it goes. We're all both taking a look at it together at least. Say, okay, thank you. What's new? Selenium IDE suppose extensions now. What are they? More info here. Let's keep that and back to Alt tab. A new reference tab added. Gives helpful information about commands. Nice. Check it out next to the logs. Cool. Thank you. All right. There you go. Perfect. So now we have opened our Selenium IDE team. This is a beautiful place to learn automation. The reason I say this is very simple. If you look at HP UFT or QTP, when you open it, it will look as complex as Eclipse IDE, and that's a little sad, because it'll take you maybe about 1 hour to feel comfortable on it initially. But Selenium IDE within 2 minutes. Now let's get an overall idea of what is what here, team. The first thing that you need to do when you look at a new tool or application is look at the layout. Where seems to be the main components. All right, we have a small menu bar here. There seems to be a 3 dots here, which typically links us to the way user experience and user interfaces are for um, latest applications which are reflex your mobile applications. You click on those 3 dots, it will give you options. Then we have one pane on the left side. It seems to be titled test. There is another play pane on the right side, which is seems to be very rich in what it does. We're going to explore that. Then on the bottom, there is a section which is log and reference. All right. To that extent, you just put your eyes not into going to depth at a high level, like 20,000 feet, you're trying to look at it. All right. Team, I'll come to your questions in a wee bit. I'm not handling questions right away, so bear with me, please. I just want to flow with this topic. Now, what is the first thing that we could have Selenium IDE do? What is its first capability? As Selenium IDE, what are its features? The first amazing theme is it can do something called as a record. What does it record? User actions. How? When performed on the browser. In our case, it is Firefox. Actually, I can say, let me not write it on the browser. So let's evaluate that. Basically, what we need to teach, record is nothing but an a quote, a statement command by us to Selenium that Selenium, watch what I am doing, learn it well, and run it afterwards by independently. I will say not by, independently. This is what it is primarily saying to what we are primarily telling to Selenium. The reason this statement is important: watch what I'm doing, learn it well, and run it off afterwards. So those three things are important: watch, learn, and run. So watching is just, observing. Learning is as you observe, you capture some information and you store it. Humans can store it in their memory, in the brain. Selenium has to do it somewhere. Run means, okay, now you tell me what you learned, Selenium, and it must repeat back to us. That is very important, team. All right. Now I have Selenium IDE on one side. I'm going to get my browser on the other side. This is a Firefox add-on, so your Selenium IDE will typically test your whatever you do on the Firefox. I'm going to go close Firefox quickly. IDE is still open. I will relaunch Firefox. Open, right click. Okay, it's pretty slow. I don't know, one of the good systems. And some beautiful questions coming, team. I will address them all in a wee bit, please. All right. Now, you know what I'll do? I'll take a risk. I want to see what is happening while I do this first thing called record. Now, let me explain these three areas, team. Okay. The first area that you see is called tests. So I can create multiple test cases out here. Okay. One by one, and then we can group them together, but by what used to be called a suite. I'm guessing it will still be called as test suite. Okay, test suite is a combination of two or more test steps. Okay, now that is your test. The second one that you need to look at, team, is the, one second, this section. This is the section where we are basically talking about giving the instruction to Selenium. Selenium, start learning now. Selenium, stop learning now. Selenium, start running now. Selenium, stop running now. Those instructions of recording your tests and playing them back are all here. Okay, so that's what something we'll look at. In this section is where will be your first steps towards automation and mastering Selenium, team. The command, the target, and the value, and why they are there, how they're built, you have to learn it extremely well. Okay, and I will teach you in such a way, team, it has to stick conceptually for you. Now the same thing that you see in a tabular format, row by row, here is actually going to become one step at a time for one test case. Okay, so a test case may have 10 steps, each of them will be present like this. Now the fields here is nothing but the table above can be edited below here, very neatly presented. All right, the same information that you see, you can edit it. Now there's some features here which will let you do something called as target. We'll come to it later. All right, this and this. The other things that you will see are log and reference. So primarily these are like help, inbuilt help that Selenium IDE has given you. As you go about working with it, it will guide you more and more. And as when you run the test, you will see results that will show up actually what happened, and maybe a report also will come here and the log will get generated. Great, perfect. So far so good, everyone. Let me see if there are questions that are relevant at this point and answer them first, and then I'll continue with the remaining. Okay, let's see. Earlier Selenium was not supporting Firefox 50 plus version. Earlier it was saying not compatible. Did they correct it? Looks like, but let's see if it works or not. I'm not sure yet, Anuj. Need to restart Firefox. Yes, hopefully, Uday, I did restart. Let's see if, in fact, now that I did restart, I'm going to maximize, hit on Alt. So what happens? Firefox has become like it's browser, right? So you don't see the menu bar anymore. So if you hit Alt on your keyboard, you see it. Tools, Web Developer. See, I still don't see Selenium IDE. Let me click on Get More Tools. Just seeing it is there here. See, Selenium IDE is here, so I'm not worried, but I'm just ensuring that it is added correctly. Experiment add to Firefox. I'm repeating it, team. I say add, leave page. It may manage your add-ons by clicking. See, this is what we were missing at that time, this instruction, because I switched the window. Oh, okay, here. Click by clicking this icon in the menu. Nice, okay. But still, Alt, Tools, Web Developer. It doesn't show here. I don't know Web IDE, but I have it here. And manage add-ons. Yeah, I can manage what's there. Cool. So that's enough for us. Now, I've closed this. So I was taking questions. Let me finish a couple more. What version of Firefox supports Selenium IDE? Which versions do you have? Which version do you have? I don't know, Kalpana. We'll figure out now. Okay. I have the latest version of Firefox and I have the latest version of Selenium IDE. Now let us see. We are not yet talking about WebDriver. That is a different jar versions that we'll come to. Selenium IDE is kind of test management tool. Not okay. To a certain extent, it is a simple test automation tool. So you can write test cases, which looks very simple, are easily doable, look like manual test cases, but it is not very easy to, let us say, combine tests, execute tests, provide defects. All those things are not kind of put into that. Selenium, okay, that I answered. Then XPath and Firebug is not supported by Firefox Quantum version. How to overcome if I install new version? Perfect, no problem. The concept of XPath, Firebug is all about your inspecting your elements, team. These days, every browser has it. So if you go to even your Chrome browser, no, actually right click here, let's say on a simpler application. I'll just go to Google and say inspect. See, right click on the web page anywhere. Is my audio okay, team? And say inspect. You see the inbuilt HTML code viewer. So you can look at each element and be able to still perform the same. In fact, you can right click and also say copy the XPath for this element and it generates it. So I'm showing it to you on Chrome. So even if you don't have them, that's fine. So we'll come to those. Sometimes what happens, team, some of your questions could be something up ahead, not yet, but I just answered. I will show you at length when we go there. All right, perfect. So let's continue then. I'm gonna get Chrome minimized and where is Firefox gone? Okay. Firefox, Firefox, come on. Why would such a nice system be slow? I don't know. There's one here. Now suddenly it will open 2-3, and that's kind of craziness. All right. So open Firefox, launch Selenium IDE. These are the instructions, team. Repeat the same. Take it down on your notes, and then looking at your notes, try it, not the video. I'm going to bring my window to the left. I have my Selenium IDE. This is more than enough. The way I do it on my keyboard is I hit the Windows key and left arrow. So it moves that specific window to the left and aligns it. I'm going to bring my Firefox to the right and keep it. So I have the Firefox here, good, and I have my IDE here. So besides each other. Now the first thing we do is in your test, you can maybe go and change it, rename your test, and let's relate it with what we have. What was the test case that we had here? I'm going to take the same one because all the effort that you've done in nicely doing your manual test, you want to continue them. So I'm going to rename this. Now I do remember these steps, right? We do remember. So I'm not going to worry about Chrome anymore. The next thing I'm going to do is ensure that this recording button is pressed in. It looks like not, and it says start recording. So I'm going to click it. Okay, nice. See, it's kind of changed to the new UI where from round it's become square and it is blinking. So it is recording. It is not a video recording, team. Remember that it is not recording the screen or the video. It is only recording what are the steps you will perform on your web application. At the end, it will give you a small, simple text file. That's it. Okay, now what's the first step? We open Firefox. Let's go to Zillow.com. All right, I visited Zillow.com. See, by default, I'm again already on rent, but I will click rent. Now, let us observe something happens on the left side when I do this, team. Did you notice that two steps got generated here and one URL got added here? Wow, that's nice. Okay. Now I'm going to type in the step 91367 and hit tab and click on this search icon. As I repeat each steps, if you notice, Selenium is doing something. See, mouse out, mouse over. It is capturing a lot of information. Now let us say I just take this and click on this. So I've put my eyes away from the Selenium IDE and looking at the focus on the application. Now I'm almost done. I would like to close this application. I'm done with it. And I will stop the test. Wow. While our steps, we only had about 7, there is something that it has generated overall. Now, without trying to have a deeper look into what it did, let us do one thing. Let us go about executing it. So what were the 3 things we wanted Selenium to do? Watch, learn, and then run. So it watched, so it was recording. I believe it learned. Now we will run. Here is the run current test. Do you notice this icon? So I'm going to click on this. It is saying preparing to run your test. I'm leaving it. I'm not going to disturb my mouse. I have not seen this message come earlier in the earlier versions, team. Have any of you seen? And how many more minutes do we have? We have another 15 minutes, correct? So we should be able to understand the automation concept here. Why is it still saying preparing to run your test? How long will it say that? Okay, it doesn't even move, right? Like, I'm just moving the window. It doesn't show anything changing. Should I do anything here? This page is loaded from an extension. Permissions. You have not granted the site any special permissions. Should I? Okay. Let me maximize. Send tab to device. What? No, it didn't. Closed it. Now stop test execution. All right. And I will start again. There is one thing here, team. Earlier, it was like a scroll bar. Okay, a horizontal scroll bar. So you could scroll from left to right and say it's fast or slow of your speed. Now here, it is a vertical scroll bar looks like. So I'm going to slow the speed of this test. While our intent is to build efficiency, faster tests, our big problem is we don't want to build wrong tests. So we want to test how our test is doing, understand if it's doing it correctly or not, and then do it accordingly. So I hit the run again right now. So let me stop this test execution first. Why doesn't it stop? Seems a little clumsy. When new things come up. Okay, untitled project. Wow. So they've done a few things. Let's save this project. What was the project we gave? Oh, that was Eclipse. This was in Java training. Okay. Zillow. iTelearn. Test. And I'm going to save this first. Let's save it. Let us see what keeps happening. On my local machine, team, I will definitely create. Does it have anything for me? This PC. I'm going to go to C drive. I'm going to put a new folder here. And I'm going to save this entire thing here, Zillow iTelearn test. I think it's saving the entire project. So I'm going to say save. Now, the reason I saved it is so that I saved it. Oh, it's saving it in downloads now. Very bad. See, first I saved the project. I selected the folder. Now each time it's asking me to go back to that folder. Selenium training. Save. Will it overwrite? Say yes. Okay. I'm going to close IDE, restart Firefox. Look at what is happening. While I'm doing this, anyone else have tried Selenium IDE on the latest version? Now what I will do, team, I'm going to open the project that we saved. All right. Okay, so it has loaded, seems to have looks the same as earlier. The first and foremost thing that I'm expecting it to see is open the browser and go to Zillow.com. My browser does not have to be open, it can be closed. So when I click on test, it should be doing it. I'm again going to slow down this test and run it. Now it's saying preparing to run your test. Is that it? Huh. Can I do anything? Click the pocket button, view pocket on any device, in pocket, okay? No. Is loaded from Selenium extension. Fair enough, permissions. What else could it be? No, I don't see anything. Let me try on Chrome. Similar thing. There are extensions. Selenium IDE. What? That's interesting. I've closed Chrome also. Disable record notifications. What's new? No, nothing. I'm good with this. It's supposed to launch. Now, I'm thinking, should I downgrade Firefox? But let's do one Google search and check, right? Let's go to Google. Selenium IDE 3.0 compatibility with Firefox version. Just putting that keyword. Let's go to Stack Overflow. To install Selenium in Firefox, 54, 64-bit, yeah, add to Firefox is not compatible. Yeah, but for us, it's not showing that message. It is no secret, but Selenium IDE will be deprecated. That's true, but we still will be able to run. It's already stopped. Okay, Firefox, no. Latest signed XPI from third party. No, no, I don't think so. Let's try Chrome. In fact, the other thing that I would do is just go to Selenium HQ org and Chrome. It would be tools. Would Alt is not there. Okay. Selenium IDE for Chrome. Okay, here you go. See, I just searched for it. Selenium IDE for Chrome. I found one. I'm going to get that. In the meanwhile, I've gone to seleniumhq.org on the other browser, and I'm going to click on Selenium IDE. And yes, I'm here. Legacies. It doesn't support plugins as yet for the legacy IDE plugins. Okay, features are there. As a Chrome and Firefox extension. So it should work on Chrome as well, team. So here is what I'm going to do. It is very important for us to understand the concept of the Selenium IDE, all right, and how it will step us into automation. So I'm going to add it to Chrome. Simple, I searched for Selenium IDE Chrome and I found it and I'm adding it. I tried to Google the forum also. They're saying it's not supporting yet, but I wouldn't be discouraged, but I'll still get Selenium IDE going, hopefully. It should do almost everything the same. It should hopefully look the same as well. Okay, great. Just like our Firefox, I also have Selenium IDE here. I'm going to close these two now and see if I can work with Chrome. So I'm going to launch Selenium IDE on the Chrome browser. I get a similar pop-up. That's good. Almost looks the same. I don't see any difference. Let me see if I can open that project. and be able to get this going. Wow, that's nice. That's not bad, right? Will it run? Will it face an issue? I don't know. I'm going to close this browser, set the execution speed back. See, it is not retaining the speed with the test. Why? Because it is only retained, I mean, for that specific run. I'm going to set run current test. It's the same thing. It was working just the other day for me. Okay, let's see. Help. Checking for updates. Okay, now I'm okay. No, it's not doing much. It is very important for us to look at this from a learning perspective. So let's see. Is up to date. Okay, this is good. Let me try this team. Keep Chrome open and rerun this test. Okay, first let me stop the test. Undetermined aborting. Okay, first log I saw. When will you abort? Hello? Shouldn't take that long. Seems to be little buggy. Leave IDE. Open project. Okay, luckily stays there. Speed is half the speed and run the current test. So this is on the existing browser. Wow. It is doing it on the existing browser team. If the browser is open, it seems to be executing it. Cool. Now I think I can do the same in Firefox. Let's look at both. And then, is it okay if I take 5-10 minutes additional today, please, as a session? So I've opened Firefox. Let me ensure Selenium IDE is closed out there. I don't want to talk about the defects right here yet. We'll talk about it in a minute. Okay, Firefox, Chrome, close Chrome, just Firefox, IDE, keep IDE, Firefox, okay. Oops, IDE, browser, IDE, open test. You're all with me, team? You seeing what I'm doing? This is something you all may also face, so just see if this works. Keep your browser open and try and run the current test. It says preparing to run your test. It is navigating good. It has paused something. I don't see what is happening because I don't even have the Selenium IDE in front of me. I just have my focus on the application team. Perfect. So now what did Selenium IDE do? It did at least two things, team. It didn't launch the browser. Okay. Maybe, you know, in the recording there's a launch that we can see, but let's say the browser is open. It has navigated to zillow.com and I believe clicked on rent. How do we know out of those few steps, 7-8 steps that we were to perform, which steps went well or not? Let's look at IDE. Very carefully, team. Do not jump anywhere. The way the steps are being represented, let us look at from an IDE perspective. We're not looking at the depth of content. Green primarily signifying that step got executed and there was no issue, and that is why it is green. Red is implying that there was an error in that step and there's an issue. Gray basically means, you know what, step 4 didn't work, I will not go to step 5. Doesn't make sense. So it stopped the test case at that point. Making sense? We have not looked at individually what these things do, but 3 steps, good. It clicked on something, you know, input at value equals, so I don't know what that is, and it's typed here something. So the same steps as to what got executed is here. Running this test case, more in English it is saying, and you know, it is, what is the status? It is giving it as a log in a text format. All right. Now, reference is something that I'll show you when I come to command target value team. Now, good. I'm happy that it executed the first 3 steps. Now, before we understand what these steps got executed, why this step failed, what could the possible reason be, let us talk about automation team. This is your web page. Okay. Now, let us assume there's another human sitting next to you and you want to pass the instructions. Let us assume a 5th grader. What will you say? Can you click on this white text box? Okay, I clicked. All right, now type 91367. Okay, good. Now what you have to do is click on search. I'll be asked again. Where? Which did you say? Oh, search. Okay, I got it. I will click on it. Now read me the result. Do you see the way the instructions are being passed, team? The reason it is very important for us is to understand that for any automation, there are only 2 things. Any automation, be it a manufacturing plant or a software test automation. And the first steps to building something, I believe, is into the artificial intelligence space. How do we create systems to take actions? The 2 most important things, team, are these 2 W's. W1 is what do you want to do, and W2 is where you want to do that. What do I mean by this? If I have to pass Selenium an instruction that, hey, Selenium, do something, I have to give these 2 information. If I have to tell a 5th grader about it, I have to still say, you know what? I want you to perform this task and I want you to do it, for the better guidance where. The simplest example that I take, team, is any task that you do, it will either say something like a verb, do something, do part of it will come here. What is it that the user wants to do? In a web page, what is that the user typically does? They type something, they click something, they see something, they navigate, scroll, select from a drop down list, maybe check boxes. These are the actions that we perform as humans on a web application. Where do we do it? The areas where we do it are called as elements. All right. In QTP or UFT, they used to be called as objects. Now they're called as elements in Selenium and also a lot of web world too. What do I mean by elements? So you got those 2 things very clear, team. The what and the where become the most critical portion of the entire automation team when you want to teach something about a tool. Now let's look at these elements. We know humanly what we do. What are these elements I'm talking about? In the simple page, any text that you see, any link or button that you see, any text box where you can type things, or an image or an icon or a logo or a video or any content that you see, each of them becomes an element. How do we know that? The simplest web page will basically look like a HTML page. So how many of you have good clarity on HTML, team? How's your knowledge on HTML? Have anyone of you tried to like brush up? My recommendation for the easiest thing, just go to w3schools.com and you can read through it. But I believe you all will also have access to iTelearn.com. I made some simple HTML basic tutorials, team. I would like you to go through them. So in W3 Schools, you can start learning HTML easily. It has got simple instructions and then it has got the area that you can play. I don't want you to like get into mastering and so on. You need to understand the concept. So I just want you to go to iTelearn and search for HTML trainings. So you have HTML training online or HTML training tutorial for beginners. There's training videos also. Let's go to the one of these. Okay, so there are about basic free videos, basics, forms and tables, CSS. Yep, this should do it. Just read through it, and go for it. Okay. XML is something we can learn very easily, team. XML is more of a format, so that shouldn't be a problem. So Control V, I'm sending you this link to all of you on the website. So look at HTML. You also have something on CSS, both of them very nice. You can, it'll give you a good overview, team. So instead of reading, I would suggest just play these videos, 52 videos, 50 minutes, 50, like 2 hours, 3 hours. It'll go very neatly, pleasantly, hopefully. All right. You need to be signed in. So because I think the only first 2 videos are free, and then the other minutes, other videos are. Okay, cool. Where were we? Okay, back to here. Now, the same thing Selenium IDE has to do. Unless it can capture what did the human user do on this Firefox web browser, it will not be able to execute it. So in these 3 columns, your command becomes the what. That is the instruction. That is the thing that we do. The target becomes the where. That is, okay, humans are smart. They can look at an image and, put our eyes and view it. But how about Selenium IDE? It is blind. How does it identify? For that, you have special ways. That is element identification topic, which is very nice, very interesting. We'll go through it 1-2 hours very pleasantly. Okay. Um, how we identify where that element is the target. Now, sometimes you need to provide additional information like your test data, usernames, passwords, links, values, zip codes, right? All this comes into value. So while these two become mandatory, your value is not necessarily mandatory. It is optional. You could put or not put. So your command is what is it that we want to do? Target is where. All right. The mastering of target will take us 1-2 sessions. We will come to it later. So I will not get into talking about, how is it identified using CSS or a typical XPath, or it is using, ID name, link text. We'll come to it later. Now let's look at the what portion of Selenium team. What it does is very simple. It has got a bunch of commands. All that we do on the web browser, it is already pre-programmed and packed it. And it is saying, you know what, I have so many commands, you just have to tell me what you want to do and it'll start doing. Okay. The first command is basically open. Open primarily means that it's an instruction from Selenium IDE to the Firefox browser that open this URL and go to this sublink in it. So it will actually go to zillow.com and rent. Now, the energy levels that we should have in the passion towards the smart tools, it is so interesting that I want to create a new test. Oh wow, this plus is add new test. So I'm going to click on that, just playing. All right, and say add. Now instead of do this, can I just open a browser by writing it here? Sure. What do I want to open? Let us say I want to open iTelearn.com, for example. All right, and I go to the first step here. See, I'm not recording now. I saw that it looks to be returned. Just open and something. Let me see if I can do the same. I can't write here, but I can write here. Now, the reason I wanted to do it in a fresh test case is you'll see this. All these commands that you see are the ones that are built into Selenium to handle multiple things that we do on an application. Do you as a Selenium engineer, automation engineer, need to master and know about each and everything? Remember it, you will get question? No, maybe about dozen, 2 dozens maximum, but it'll be very simple. And others are variations over it. For example, assert checked, assert not checked, assert confirmation, this and this. So like even for clicking, you'll notice when you go there, see click, click at, and so on. And no, actually that's nice. They didn't do much on click. Mouse are there, see mouse down, up, very nice. All these commands are there. So what was the first command we saw? And a lot of times the keyword symbolifies from our test step. What is it we are trying to do? Open. So I have an open target. What do? I'll just give a slash because I want it to go to the home page. Let me see if this runs. It says it ran. Wow, okay, it went to. That's nice. Now let's see if I want to click on login. All right, just playing team. We are not yet gone and mastered this. Just playing to see so that when you have a little gap in the next couple of days, you will start playing around with it. I want to click on this login. Can I click on this login as the next step? Okay, step 2. I want to click. Okay, the see click, click at, double click at. I don't know what is click and click at. You know what I will do? Let us select click and then go to your reference. All right, your reference is your inbuilt help by Selenium IDE. And what it will do is it will tell you what this specific command does. Clicks on a target element, example, a link button, checkbox, a radio button. Okay, then what does click at do? Click on a target element, so and so. The coordinates are related to the target element. Oh, example 00 is the top left corner. So let us say on this login button, I want to click here or slightly here or here. I could control the position in the button by using click at. So the difference is so simple for us to realize, and that is how you will evolve to play around with it. Click on a target element. It will also tell me that arguments is what information I have to give is a locator, an element locator. Now, there is one beautiful way, team. You have select target in page. See, I have the command ready, but where I don't know, I have this option called select target in page. I'm going to click this and see what happens. And then go to my page and click on it. I clicked on it. Let me go back to IDE. Oh, wow, it did capture something. And let us say, uh, I want to close the browser. Is there something called close? No, there is no close. Exit? No, I don't think we'll be IDE will be closing your browser. So I only 2 steps, team. But what happens after login? See how quickly now I got the basic fundamental and I'm playing around. In login, what I'm going to do is I want to just enter username and password. I'll not click on login. Can I do that? What do I want to do? I want to enter. Is there anything by enter? No. How do I know I want to edit? Doesn't look like. When you have a question, team, what do? Very simple. Either look at old test cases and see other things which may have done something similar, or simple, start recording on this test at this point and let IDE do it. So IDE is such a nice, comfortable tool to start with. It has all the options for you to make sure you'll not get stuck. It will do it, but you need to know the right methodology, team, like I'm mentioning. If not this, then there. You don't have to get stuck anywhere. And see, this earlier run is still green. I thought I'll speak about it, but we have not yet built. So let's go to the old test case. Look at this. Open, and it says click at. Wow, see, it's giving click at. It's giving the identification and the X and Y coordinates. Thankfully, because we were playing around with this iTelearn website, we went to open and click, and we researched and reference. We now know what is click at, and we're seeing that, you know what, it is trying to click at the element there somewhere. Then click at something and type. What happened here? I don't remember. Let's run and see once. What speed is it running? Okay, meteor. So it's gone to zillow.com. Oh, it just failed here. No, what? Why did this change to iTelearn.com? That is strange. Did you see that, team? It is keeping the same thing everywhere. Just playing also changed to Zillow.com. That is not good. I think, yeah, now I get it. On the same URL, they want us to run multiple tests, and maybe you can give a sub URL in it. That's what the intent is. But that is a sad change because it should go with the test case, that URL, base URL. We'll come to it. See, I actually never worry about IDE. Primary reason is it's a great learning tool, learning place, but not the workplace. We will be working on Selenium Webdriver. But whenever we have question or some kind of a challenge, we keep going back to IDE as well. All right, let's stay on iTelearn. We have click. We want to do one more thing. We just went here to see. Okay, look at this type. Reference sets the value of an input field. This input value 91367, my zip code. I was putting it there, right? So if this is setting the value in that place, then I know type is the command. So I'll go back to my iTelearn and let me see if I can start writing type. Perfect, thank you. And now the target I have to identify. How do I do it? Again, I'll click here. No, actually, I'll not click. I'll not do it yet. I have to keep that open now. So I'll go to login, say it went to iTelearn.com/rent. And here is the username and password. So type where select target in page, and here I'm going to select username. Nice, it got highlighted. Hopefully it is done. Now what should I type? I'll just say Karthik. Okay, username, so no space. Hopefully it is correct. Not sure. Next one again. Say I've already learned 3 commands. Oh, in fact 4. Open, click, add, type. Now type target. Let's again select this password, and perfect. Just till there. Speed slow. Okay. Now let's run current test. If I have multiple tests in that test suite, I will be able to run all tests. So from that URL. Wow, did it perform it? Karthik, did I enter a password? I think the steps were slow, put as slow, and I think that is why. Oh, okay. Now we'll take a brief look at the run result log file team for this test, and then end today's session. See, first all green, that's good. Since all steps passed, the test case passed. So my test case passed. Good. Go to my log. You will notice that there is a lot of log. The first time I played Zillow test case 1, then the other one was aborted, and finally just playing, we just did, right? Open, okay, no problem, success. Click on this, no problem, I did it. Type on this with value Karthik, okay. So see, my log basically says all this is nicely done. This is your IDE. Now, we need to spend at least another 2 days on IDE, especially for element identification and exploring more commands. There is no challenge in writing multiple tests, saving them as project, running them. All these are just, tool commands. But the core of IDE is the commands, but 70% of it is how to identify elements. If you can't identify the where, there's no point in doing what. You'll keep clicking the wrong things. All right, perfect. We'll also see a little bit more of recording. The way I do is I do only recording once, then I go about either editing the test cases or writing them, team. Okay, and I want you to do the same. Start writing more and more of them. Yes, I know there's another session also starting briefly. So team, any questions before we end? And Ashna, can you do me a favor? Oh, you can't start the session, right? Yes, I'll finish it in the next couple of minutes. Better to degrade the version and work on it for further sessions? I don't think, Uday. It is working fine. I just had to keep the window open. I don't know if there's any other issue. But we will have to do some degrading of browsers sometimes once we get to WebDriver. Don't worry as we go about. For today it worked and perfect. We'll carry from there. All right, everyone, looks like that's about it. I'll see you all back in day 3. It's going to get very interesting. I do have one question before I end. I started speaking faster because I've modulated. Sometimes when it is important, I speak slow, sometimes faster. Is that comfortable pace for you all? The pace of the lecture and the pace of my voice? Please do not go fast. Okay, I'll do that. I've got, I mean, that was not the only comment. I've got yes and good and perfect and few things from the others, but I just took the one where I thought I should improve. Please do not go fast. I'll not go faster. Okay, not on the subject, but this is what happens. You don't have to try and capture every word that I say because I will slow down at the core component and re-stress. So you will get that strongly into it. Sure, you're welcome. But anytime you feel that you're getting lost, there are 2 solutions. Rather than pausing the session where dozens of us are there, what you could do is just go back to the video. Sometimes the concept comes more clearly second time. I know additional effort, but I'm sure it'll help. Thank you, everyone. That's it for now. Bye. We'll see you back, all of you, in day 3. day 3 schedule, I think Ashna and team will share with you. Thank you, everyone. Bye now.